Alright, so in the last video we set up the HTTP module and I showed you how to make a GET request to the JSON placeholder API. Now if we look at the documentation here, it'll actually allows us to make a post request to /posts or in our case /users, and it'll do a successful request, give us a response. It won't update the actual posts on their side because they don't want people just adding to their database and clogging up all their resources and storage. So what we'll do is we'll make the request, get the response, and then we'll add it to our UI. We'll actually be able to add a user in our interface here. All right, so let's create a form. We're going to go right above the div where we did the ng4, and let's put in a form. Okay, we'll put an HR underneath it, separating the two. And let's see, we're going to add a submit event, and that's just going to go to a function called onSubmit. And let's add some fields here. We'll say div class form group. Okay, and then we'll do a label. This will be for the name, input. We'll have a type of text, and let's give it a class of form controls. Okay, and then we're also going to give this an ng model. And we're going to set that to, let's say, user.name. And then we're also going to set a name attribute to name. Okay, and then what I'll do is copy this form group, paste it in 2 more times. This one's going to be an email. We'll set user.email as the ng model, and then email as the name. And then down here we'll do phone. Alright, and then we'll just have a submit button. Alright, save that. And now we have a form. So let's see, cannot read property name of undefined. So it's talking about this right here. It doesn't know what user is, so we need to add that as a property down here. We have our users, which represents the array of users, but user will represent the single user we're adding into the form. Okay, so that's going to be an object. So I'm going to just set that to an object with excuse me, with a name, email, and phone. Alright, and just doing that should fix that error. Good. Now we need to create our function to submit to, so that's going to be on submit. Excuse me. And then on submit, we want to call a service function called add user, which we haven't created yet. But let's just take care of this first. So we'll say this.dataService.add user. Okay, it's going to be an observable that's returned, so we'll say subscribe. And it's going to give us back the single user that's added. And then we're just going to say this.users.unshift. Now, if you don't know what unshift means, it's basically like push. When you push onto an array, it'll add it to the end. Unshift will add it to the beginning. That way we'll be able to see it up here when we add the user. Okay. And then in here we just want to do, actually, yeah, this should be the user that it gives us back. So let's save that and go to our service. Okay, we're going to get an error because it's looking for add users. So let's create that, or add user, sorry. And as you can see, we're passing in, oh, we didn't pass in, but we need to pass in right here, this.user. Let's see, this.user, and then here will be user. Alright, so let me just check something here. Alright, so what we're going to do is just return this.http, and instead of get, we're making a post request. So we want to do .post, and we want to put in the URL, which is going to be, it's actually going to be the same URL as the get. You can use the same URL as long as it's a different request. Now this is going to take an additional parameter of the fields we want to, or of the user we want to add. So we're going to pass in user. All right, and then just like we did here, we're just going to map it to JSON. So let's put that right there, and that should be all set. So let's save it. I also want to just log when we get the response back. Let's just go ahead and log it as well. Okay, we'll save that. And now let's go up here and we'll say Steve Smith, give him an email and a phone number, and let's submit. And you can see the response we get back. Okay, it gives us the ID as well, and then it also got added to our users array, or our users property. All right, so that's how we can make a post request. In the next video, we're going to add a delete button, and I'm going to show you how we can make a delete request to the API.